What's going on, everyone? So, the Minnesota Timberwolves just suffered a terrible loss in losing Karl Anthony Towns. Now, he is to undergo surgery on a torn meniscus. He is ruled out indefinitely, but we did get an update that he is going to miss at least a month and is expected to be and potentially return early playoffs. So, that could be really good for Minnesota. Minnesota is in good shape. I mean, they've been very good this year. They've just on both sides of the basketball. Their offense can be a little kind of stagnant at times, but defensively, they've just been a monster. And they're currently the 1 seed in the Western Conference. They are sitting at 44-19. However, they're only a game ahead of the Nuggets, half a game ahead of the Oklahoma City Thunder. So there is still a potential of them falling to even the 3 seed. Clippers aren't that far away. Clippers are only 3 games behind. So the Minnesota Timberwolves could even slip to the 4 seed. Beyond that, I don't really see Minnesota going anywhere below that. Look at teams like the Pelicans. They're 6.5 games. Like, Minnesota's still very good, even without Karl Anthony Towns, who, don't get me wrong, he's having an excellent season, all-star, but like 6.5 games, Minnesota will be fine in that regard. But the Clippers, how good they've been, the Nuggets obviously are the Nuggets, and then the Thunder have had a very good year. I wouldn't be shocked if any of those teams go and surpass them. But in the same breath, I wouldn't be shocked if Minnesota maintains and holds on to the number 1 seed. Right now, I mean, they're still on a 2-game win streak. They do have a pretty solid schedule in which I do believe there are many games that are very winnable for them, especially the way that they're playing. Their next game is on the road against Cleveland. That could be a little tough, but they do still have a lot of just favorable matchups. And they're a team that has experience without Karl Anthony Towns, right? Even last year, Cat missed a bunch of games for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And you look at like the games that are slated coming up. You got the Cavs, you got the Lakers, you got the Clippers, right? Those 3 games should be pretty tough. The Cavaliers are fighting for the 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. The Lakers are fighting to get out of the 10th seed. The other 3 games that they've played against Minnesota have all been incredibly close. So you'd imagine that the Lakers are going to want to try to get that win. The Clippers obviously are trying to overtake Minnesota in the standings. So all 3 of those games should be pretty tough. But then you got Utah twice. That should be a 2 favorable games. Then you got the Nuggets, the Cavs, the Warriors. Those are tough. The Pistons, the Nuggets again, the Bulls. And then you got like teams that are kind of like towards the back end, right? Like, what do the Rockets do? Do they decide to kind of just say, you know what, like, let's pack it in and call it a season and try to get a draft pick? Same thing with the Raptors, Phoenix, the Lakers. Again, those are 2 teams that are going to be trying to really fight hard to get those wins. The Wizards, they're the worst team in the league. They're going to be trying to pack it in. Atlanta, where are they? Second to last game, right? So there's still a lot of favorable games here. They got at least 6 or 7 games that they should, without a doubt, win, which that would put them in a very good position as far as, like, I mean, you got 51 wins minimum. They'll pick up a couple wins here and there throughout. So I could see them getting to, like, 53 wins maybe, somewhere in that ballpark, 52 wins. Like I said, I think bare minimum they get another 7 to 9 wins. Because again, you still have several of the key pieces. You still have Rudy Gobert, and you still have Anthony Edwards, who have been fantastic. You still got guys like Naz Reid, who he can easily step in and play a very similar role to the Rudy Gobert or the Karl Anthony Towns off the bench, right? A lot of times that's kind of his role anyway. Their starting 5, usually they kind of go with like the Jaden McDaniels at the 4, with Anderson at the 3. So you got Mike Conley, Edwards, McDaniels, or Anderson, McDaniels, and Gobert. Solid. And then you got your bench and your key pieces that you need. They'll be able to weather the storm. The concern is, at least for me, it's not so much the regular season. They've done their job. They did what they needed to do. And now they have positioned themselves to, I believe bare minimum, again, bare minimum, they will be a top 3, at worst, top 4 seed, right? Let's say at the absolute worst, they'll be 4th in the West. So the problem is, right, is who do you end up playing in that first round, right? So if you're the 1 seed, you can make an argument, because the West is going to be a juggernaut, period, right? Period. But there are obviously some more favorable matchups than others. There's obviously those matchups where you're like, okay, like we could still, even without Karl Anthony Towns, pull out a win in this series. Drop to 4th, you play the Pelicans. I still think that they could beat the Pelicans. I still think that's a very favorable matchup. But if let's say you finish the 1 seed and you play Phoenix, Sacramento, Dallas, the Warriors, the Lakers, without Karl Anthony Towns, that could be tough, right? Like, because the Warriors and Lakers, they have the experience, right? Which you saw against these young teams does go a long way. Now, does that mean Minnesota can't beat them? Of course they can. I still absolutely believe Minnesota has a good chance, but without Karl Anthony Towns, it's just one less weapon that you have, right? Now, Dallas, I think you can match up with Dallas. I think you'd still have enough size and enough versatility to match up well with Dallas. Sacramento could be a bit of a problem, especially if Minnesota's offense already stalls at times, right? And, like, you're losing another big key offensive piece. So can your defense supplement enough to kind of slow down Sacramento to where you can kind of stay in those games? Same thing with like a Phoenix, right? It's not gonna be all sunshines and rainbows, but you can make the argument even with Karl Anthony Towns, it wouldn't be no sunshines and rainbows because the West is just so insane. I mean, seriously, you can make a genuine, legitimate argument for 1 through 10 to come out of the NBA Western Conference and even potentially win an NBA championship. Like, genuinely. You have 10 teams that you can make a compelling argument for. Some more than others, of course, but still, like, you could make an argument. That tells you that, I mean, one, the play-in and the playoffs are going to be fire. I cannot wait for the playoffs. But 2, you may end up having a lot of upsets. And with there potentially being a lot of upsets, you need to be as healthy and fully geared up as possible. And Minnesota losing Karl Anthony Towns would mean that they're not fully geared up and as healthy as possible. Because again, he's a very good, talented, versatile guy. Gives you another big man, right? Like if like Rudy ends up getting in foul trouble or just needs a break, right? You have him. Having those 2 big men down low is a mismatch to many teams, right? You need Karl Anthony Towns to be as healthy and good to go as possible. I mean, in this year, he's having a great year. He's averaging 22 points. He's averaging 8.4 rebounds, 3 assists. Will be nice and round it up to a steal and a block. All right, he's shooting EFG of 57.8. Shooting 55% from 2-point range on 10 attempts, shooting 42.3% from 3-point range on 5 attempts. And he's averaging, 32, almost 33 minutes a game. And he's played in most of the games this year. Where you look at last year, and this is why I think Minnesota will be okay during the regular season, is he only played 29 games for him last year, right? So they were able to they already kind of know what the deal is without him. Right? Obviously, he's played so many games this year that it's been good, and you've kind of gotten to figure and right the ship a little bit with because there was a lot of questions last year, like can Rudy and Cap even play together? And they've shown, like, yeah, you genuinely can, right? So Karl Anthony Towns has only missed like a handful of games thus far. Obviously, now he's probably going to miss the rest of the season, and so. Again, I'm not worried about the regular season. It's just the postseason when these matchups start getting intense, start getting brutal, and you need kind of your all hands on deck. Are the Minnesota Timberwolves going to be able to ride that, weather the storm, come out ahead? It's a question that we'll find out. We'll see. But anyway, again, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? Do you think Minnesota Timberwolves will be fine? How do you think? Yeah, it'll all work out. They'll be able to weather the regular season. They'll get into the postseason. Cat will be back at some point, and then they'll be good to go. Or do you think no? Like they absolutely need Karl Anthony Towns, right? They need the 1 seed, right? Because this is a team that genuinely they wanted the 1 seed. You want the home court, especially a young team like Minnesota that lacks. Yeah, they have like Mike Conley and Rudy Gobert who have had playoff experience and stuff, but Karl Anthony Towns doesn't have like this plethora of playoff experience. Same thing with Anthony Edwards, right? You need to see and have these guys kind of get as much opportunity as possible. But again, love to hear your thoughts and opinions, so let me know down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.